friends, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for joining in. I am coming to you live from the new house. We are all moved out of the rental house. Everything is moved into this house, not put away and all that moved in, but the stuff is physically all here. We still have boxes. We have a dryer in the kitchen, so that's fun. So we still have boxes and everything everywhere, but we are getting closer to being situated. This is the outside, my horse trailer. So yeah, we're getting it together. Got a little bit more to do, but surely getting there. So super excited to be in the new space. And I'll have to show everybody a little bit more around once it gets a little more situated. I wanted to get on here and share today because over the course of about the last 8 months, I have really been focused on becoming more fit, becoming stronger, becoming more athletic. And I'm so happy to report that I have lost a little over 20 pounds. And more importantly than that, I have, built up some muscle. I've toned up. I've gotten stronger in some places. And I'm just so thrilled with that accomplishment. And I wanted to, this is not like a video to brag or anything like that. I just wanted to share this with you guys because for me, what I have found that I really attribute this success to is the fact that I had the why. I had a why to and for making this happen, and this is the why right here. So last fall, about 8 months ago, we went to World Finals, and this was one of our runs at World Finals. Now my horse did amazing. She's gotten stronger, she's gotten better. I've really focused on getting her more in shape, and it's shown and it's working. And she'd already made a couple of runs right before this run, and she tends to get stronger as she goes. So she made this run. We come in a little close to the first barrel. Our line was really too straight to the first, but she handled it like a champ, and she whipped around that barrel to get on and get to the second barrel like a champ. But because she turned it so tight and because she did it so well, I actually got off balance. And you can see here in this video, when she hits the backside of that barrel and she brings those shoulders around to take off towards the second barrel, you can see me actually lose my balance and I go a little to the outside, a little back. And when that happens, I actually accidentally, because I'm thrown off balance, I pull up on that inside rein, causing her have to give me her nose, causing her to lose momentum, and that cost us time. And in the moment, in the run, I thought I was going to fall off because that's how, it never looks as profound in the videos as it feels in real life, but I definitely lost my balance. I definitely thought I was going to fall off. Luckily I saved it, but I did, cost us time. That was a real epiphany moment for me. I came out of that run and it just hit me. It's wow, I cost us time. And I have put so much energy and so much effort and so much, care into trying to make sure my horses are the best athletes they can be. And I have not held myself accountable, for myself to be the best athlete that I need to be and can be. And I slowed her down. And so for me, leaving that run, immediately, I was like, you know what? This has got to change. I can't be the reason, because of my athletic limitations, that my horse can't excel and be the best that she can be. That can't happen again. And that was enough to really make me understand that I needed to get serious about this and I needed to get stronger. And honestly, it wasn't about losing weight. It was about getting stronger and getting more fit. So I really dedicated, the winter months. We're not doing as much barrel racing in the winter. The horses kind of get off those months in the winter. But I took that downtime and I used it to focus on me and my own athleticism and my own working out, and I really made that my focus. I wanted to share this because I think that is why I was able to be successful and able to really get to see some results. And hopefully I can, keep that going into the future. All I did was really become very dedicated to being very intentional and very purposeful day in and day out about the things, the small decisions that I trusted would in the end lead to good results. And that when I talk about training my horses, I say the same thing. I don't just get on them willy-nilly just to say I'm on their back riding them around. Like, everything is purposeful, everything is intentional. Like, some days we're focused on conditioning, some days we're focused on certain muscles and certain drills, or trying to fix some certain problem we're having. Like, everything is very intentional and very purposeful. And it's wash, rinse, repeat. Like, it's over and over and over, like Groundhog Day. It's like we do the same thing over and over. Like, every day I'm out there, every day you're doing this, every day it's the small little things that nobody else sees, and they don't know how much work you put into it, and they just see the end result and they're like, oh wow, like that's awesome, but they have no idea all the day in day out stuff that went in to that end result. And that's why you have to have the why. That's why you have to have the thing, the bigger thing that you want to accomplish, because you're going to have the willpower to get out there and just day in, day out, the daily grind, when no one else is looking, when no one else is cheering for you, when no one else sees the hard work that you're putting in. Like, you got to do that for yourself, because you believe that day in, day out, if I just focus on intentionally putting in this work, putting in this effort, making these decisions, that in the end it's going to result in something great. And you have to trust that that's going to work. It's kind of like my horses. Like, I spend all this time doing all this stuff with them, conditioning them, training them, drills with them. I really prioritize like nutrition and what I feed them and quality hay. And none of that is guaranteed to make them faster on the barrel pattern. But I believe that if I focus on feeding them good things, giving them the cleanest water, keeping them in the best shape, like, I believe that doing that day in and day out, like, there's no quick fixes, there's no like magic remedies. Like, it's a day in, day out commitment. But I trust and I believe that if I do that consistently over and over and over again, that it will make them better than if I didn't. That's kind of the approach I took with my own self and my own athleticism over the past 8 months. I really just set a standard for myself. It was a non-negotiable standard. I had to work out X amount of days a week. For me, I started with 4 days a week. I've cut that back to 3 days a week now that I'm more active, like riding the horses and things like that. But the standard at first was 4 days a week, and that was the standard. And every time I worked out, it was with a purpose. It was very intentional. I I focused on the muscles that I knew would be important when I was riding the horse. I focused on the muscles that I knew would be important when we were barrel racing specifically. And every time I got my muscles comfortable with a certain weight, I would bump that weight up. So if I started out only being able to do lunges with no weights, and now I'm up to being able to do lunges with 40 pounds of weights. Same thing with leg lifts, same things with, crunches, everything. It's very intentional and very purposeful and very targeted towards those muscles that I knew were going to be important. And I didn't make it overwhelming. Like, my standard was, you have to work out every day. And when you work out, it has to be very intentional and it has to count. And that was my only standard. So there were days where I was really rushed and really pressed for time, and I just worked out for literally 5 minutes. And like, that was all I could do that day, but I did it for 5 minutes. And for those 5 minutes, like, it was a real workout. Like, I was huffing and puffing at the end of those 5 minutes because I made sure to really work those muscles for those 5 minutes. The time I was working out, it was not with the focus of the end result. It was not with the thought of, oh, this is, going to make me lose weight or anything like that. It was, the focus was the daily grind, and the focus was the trust that prioritizing these workouts and doing them and keeping to my standard that I had set for myself was going to make me a better rider and was going to prevent me from getting left behind another barrel next time we went to a barrel race. And that was the why, and that was the focus, and that was what I thought about. If you focus too much on the end result of anything, I promise you it's going to get overwhelming. You're going to lose motivation. The end results, they can sometimes, depending on what it is, it can sometimes take you so long to see that eventual end result. And if you are on that end result only, you're probably going to get discouraged, probably going to lose motivation somewhere along the way. So at least what has worked for me is not about the end result. It's not about losing the 20 pounds. It's not about my horse is eventually going to win the 1D one day. Like, that's not what it's about. It's about the daily grind. It's about trusting that this daily thing that you are intentionally and purposely doing, the daily choices that you intentionally and purposely make, the daily things that you prioritize, like day in and day out, like focusing on that and trusting that that is going to make your life better somehow. And like when you do that, all these results just start happening and all these accomplishments just start happening because you were targeted and you were focused and you were dedicated on the things that actually mattered. The small little things, the small little choices, the small little effort every single day. The other thing, in addition to like making it a standard to do these workouts, is I really became intentional about eating. I didn't deprive myself of any food I wanted. I didn't do any crazy diets or anything like that. I just intentionally made a decision to eat a little bit smaller portions. Like if I normally would have a plate this big, I would just cut it down a little bit. Like everything I ate, I just would eat a little bit less of it. And what happens is like your stomach shrinks over time, and then lo and behold, you don't even want all that food. You can't even fit it in your stomach anymore anyway. Other thing I did, again with intention, day in, day out choices, is I researched foods that were really good for speeding up metabolism, and I made sure to eat those foods in the morning for breakfast. Like I've never really been a breakfast person. I'm never really hungry in the morning. Like I used to just like grab a cup of coffee in the morning and like I wouldn't get hungry until lunchtime at the earliest. And I intentionally now make myself eat breakfast, and I make sure it's a food that is going to really speed up my metabolism and really jumpstart my metabolism, get my metabolism going so it can be, working all day. And look, it should go without saying, I am not a physical trainer. I'm not a nutritionist. I have no qualifications to know anything about any of this stuff or give anyone any advice. So take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. Obviously, if you want the best results, talk to some experts, get some expert opinions. I'm just talking about what, worked for me. And everybody is completely different. And what works for one person is not necessarily going to work for the other when it comes to, things like weight loss, which can be very complicated, as we all know. So again, this is not a bragging video by any means. I know weight and health is such a struggle for so many people and it's so hard. That is the only reason I'm sharing this. I want you guys to know what I have found that has worked for me, and maybe it can be useful to you. Change is so hard. Like it is so hard to change anything about our lives. It is very difficult to break habits. It is very difficult to set new habits. It's hard to change. Like human nature is to stay in the like comfortable, familiar thing that we already know and that we already do. And it is very hard to break out of that and to change anything about our life, especially when that change takes a lot of physical effort or a lot of mental, emotional effort. The only way change can be successful is if you have decided that the change or the new life that you want is more important than conserving the energy and just staying, in your comfortable life as it is. That's why people talk about hitting rock bottom and that being a catalyst to change. Like you need a catalyst to make you change. Like you need something in your life to be bad enough that you're willing to put in the time, energy, and effort to change it. And until you find that reason, until you find that why, it's not going to be very easy, and it's probably not going to be very successful. You can find the reason why it's worth it, when you can find the reason why making a change in your life is worth it, you're going to be able to stick to that path a lot easier. So that's my challenge for you guys. If there's something about your life that you're not happy about, if there's something about your life that you want to be better or do better or whatever the case may be, really soul search, like what is the reason? Like what is your why? Like what is the catalyst that's making you feel like you want something different? And you really need to identify that, and you really need to hold on to that reason. Like that's your why. That is your catalyst. That is the thing that's going to make you want to put in the effort and energy to change something in your life. I have tried to get on exercise plans and diet plans before, and you go through these phases where you're like, oh, I need to lose some weight, I need to shape up or whatever. Like I've gone through so many phases like that. This is the most successful I have ever been in this short amount of time, and I'm telling you, I attribute it to that because I don't want to be left behind a barrel again at a barrel race. I don't want to fall off my horse because I lose my balance. I don't want to slow my horse down. Like that's not fair. I've put all this effort into training them, all this effort into trying to make them the best they can be, and then I'm going to be the thing that messes us up because I'm not strong enough to keep up with them. I don't want to do that. And so for me, because I don't want that again, like that's enough reason. That's enough reason to make me want to make this change. And that's enough reason to make me get up every day in and day out, and make intentional, purposeful decisions every single day that are going to put me just a little bit closer. Like I said, I know change is so hard. It is. It's very hard. And to stay consistent and to stay dedicated and to stay motivated is so hard. But it can be done. People do it all the time, like on all these different areas of life. It can be done. So if there's something that you want to fix or adjust or make better, you got to stop hiding behind the change is hard thing, or I can't change. Like you got to just do it. Like that's how people make changes in their life. They decide that it's time to make the change, that it's worth it to them to make the change. They don't want to live how they're currently living, and they're going to put in the effort to change. And when you decide that, when you reach that level, I promise you, you can do it. You just have to want it. And the desire for that new life or that better life has to be more than your desire to sit there and just continue how you are. All right, I hope that this helps. And I hope everybody's having a great day. And we'll talk again soon. Bye.